नमो अरिहन्ताणं नमो सिद्धाणं नमो आर्याणं नमो उवज्जायाणं नमो लोये सवसाहूणम्। जय जिनेन्द्र सभी को। So we were on. Did we finish the Lakshan Parva?
No, we have to start the Sudarshan Parva. We finished the chapter 8.
Finish the Nishchay or Vyavhar. Okay.
Nishchay Vyavhar.
So let's summarize a little bit. So who is going to tell me what is Nishchay, what is Vyavhar? Actually, I should ask Dinesh.
Yeah.
Because you were not there last time. If you watched the video, you should know.
Yes, Jai Janendra sabko. Yeah, I did. I read it and I also watched it, the video. So we had also covered this earlier in the Bal Bodh and all that too. So Nishchay and Vyavahar is like the mistake people make is they think that there are two different paths to moksha, and they're not. There's only one path to moksha, but they're just different facets of that same path. So jaise bolte ki Vyavahar is like more sort of more tangible things, right? Ki jaise hum puja karte, upvas वगैरह वो सब करते हैं. And Nishchay is the real. So you can consider Vyavahar as a path to get to the Nishchay. So some...
No. That's the Mithyatva. No, you cannot use Vyavahar as a path. उपवास करते करते मोक्ष नहीं मिलने वाला.
नहीं, as a path meaning to get that realization of Nishchay. Like, so I don't mean a path.
No, actually, no, we need to get that out of our system. What it is Vyavahar is a relative viewpoint or a conventional viewpoint, and it may not have anything to do with the reality. It's just to say, just like we give those examples of you calling a father's friend uncle, it has nothing to do with him being any way related to you. It's just a convention. You call father's friend an uncle as if he was your father's brother. But it has nothing to do with the reality. Do you understand? So same way, here also, Vyavahar is relative or conventional. Now, when we talk about Vrat, Upvas, Puja, all those Vyavahar, what it is whenever we are Mandakashai or Samyak Drashti, who has the Atmaka experience, they naturally do those activities. But that has nothing to do with them doing those activities, taking them to moksha. Okay?
So like, for example, you're saying when Manda Kashai means people who have less Kashai, they end up not eating onions and garlic and trying to do more vrat and upvas.
So for example, in this class, you learn कि हम पंचेंद्रिय ekendriya में minimum hinsa hai, within ekendriya also the root ones have even more hinsa within, relatively speaking. Now maybe not all. I mean, when I was taking the classes, I remember there was this girl in her 20s, married to Hindu guy, very busy girl. She had a huge business and everything, right? It just struck her in one class. And she decided she's going to go fully Jain food. Now, she's married to Hindu guy who obviously doesn't believe in, not non-onion, garlic, all those things. They had a life of where they would go a lot of, Colorado, whatever, skiing, those things. And, relatively being young, you think it's kind of difficult because you have to eat out and all those things. But it just struck her that, no, this is not worth it. I'm not going to eat it. And she managed. She's still managing. So when your kashais are less, then that rag, that attachment to leave is easier.
Right.
So why do we still eat it even though we know there's all this hinsa in whatever these foods, whatever it is that we eat, doesn't matter what it is. Why? Because our attachment overtakes even though we know the reality.
Right.
Okay. So, I mean, a lot of examples like silk, right? Everybody knows silk is very, very bad. Itte sare keede usme marte hain, whatever. And a lot of people will admit, oh yeah, I really feel sorry that I'm having to wear silk, but I cannot let go of wearing my silk sarees or my leather jackets or whatever the case may be. So as you gain knowledge, as the attachment lets go a little bit at a time, it just naturally becomes easier, or people naturally feel like not doing so much harm. I mean, it's a normal thing, right? अगर कोई तुमको बोलेगा कि तुम दुकान में चोरी करोगे, पुलिस पकड़ेगा, आपको जेल भेज देगा. अब आपको जेल नहीं जाना है, तो you know what to do, not to do चोरी in the store, right? So it's the same thing. भगवान ने आपको क्या करने से क्या consequence है naturally वो बताया, and you don't want that consequence, you don't do that. So, yeah, somebody had a question?
Yeah, that's me. Actually, there's a line saying instrumental Vyavhar serves as an instrumental cause to the moksha marg. So does that mean that we should start with the Vyavhar and then we can easily...
Well, that's your own choice, right? As soon as when we start learning these things, right now we are not capable of suddenly going into meditation and experiencing our soul. So what are we going to do meanwhile, right? Meanwhile, we have two choices. Either we could do pap karya or punya karya. So which one is better? Naturally. So that doesn't mean कि पुण्य करते करते मोक्ष हो जाएगा. पर हाँ, पुण्य से कषाय कम. So it's like a back and forth relationship, right? कि कषाय कम है तो पुण्य कार्य करने का मन करेगा, पुण्य कार्य करोगे तो और कषाय मंद होगी, और उससे धीरे धीरे आपकी आत्मा में रुचि बढ़ेगी. पर ये पुण्य एक्टिविटीज करते करते मोक्ष हो जाएगा, ऐसा कभी नहीं. Those are two separate entities, right? Now there is still a nimitic relationship will be there, but there is no cause and effect relationship. Okay.
Oh, one thing I wanted to have a question, Prabhaji. If we got a human body, it has certain requirements because we have that's the Pudga. So hinsa to, hoege na, we eat, we walk.
And we must accept that. Even breathing is hinsa. Eating is hinsa. Anything, activity we are doing is hinsa. We can never eradicate hinsa in these life forms, right? Yet, it's the bhav. Actually, just the other day, I was listening to somebody and she was saying, she would tell the grandkids ki jeev alag hai or pudgal alag hai, and your body is pudgal and jeev, and then she would just practice, ask them, so who are you? And they will say, I'm jeev, right? These are like kids playing here. And then thoda der mein they will say, oh, grandma, give me milk or tea. And she would say, to जीव हो तो जीव को दूध चाहिए या ये चाहिए? तो she said, no, मेरे पुद्गल शरीर को चाय दे दो या दूध दे दो. So even the kids get it that I am, the jeev doesn't eat or drink. It's the pudgal. Now, okay, so that is a child play. But yet, if you really understood that thoroughly in your mind, it's not me who is eating. I am different from Pudgal that is eating, that is requiring all these requirements. So it's who you associate with.
Mhm.
So, and yes, still there will be karma bandhana, no doubt about it, because you cannot avoid it. तो वो जो कर्म होते हैं उनको जब आप meditative state में हो रहे हो, when you are increasing, going up in the gunasthan, that time tons and tons of them easily go away. Even swadhyay gets rid of lot more karmas than like 100 upvas, let's say. So it's anything being closer to soul is always going to get rid of more karmas than any of the other activities. But that doesn't mean you don't do them. कि अब तो ठीक है, हम तो स्वाध्याय कर लेंगे, आत्मा के पास बैठ जाएंगे, तो let's forget about all the other things. No. And so once you understand some of these things, naturally you will say, okay, जितनी मैं हिंसा करूंगा मुझे ही उसका फल भोगना है. Nobody else is coming to bear those fruits, right? So now it's up to me to decide what kind of pain and pleasure I want to get for me. So if I'm going to recklessly kill all these organisms, not even have any kind of remorse towards it, तो भर भर के मेरे कर्म होंगे. And then let's say I get an illness, right? Now all this bacteria is bothering me. तो क्या हुआ? अब वही वो बैक्टीरिया है जिनको आपने बड़े खुश हो के खाया था. So then you say, okay, fine. I made that mistake. I did the pramad of casually just, like without much remorse, chopping all these vegetables, eating, cooking. So there's that bhav difference, what I'm talking about. So now if they've come back, those jivas, not their fault. It's me who did that in the first place. I'm just getting a return gift now. So then it is a lot easier to accept the circumstances you get, whether good or bad. So you don't feel this why me thinking, feeling. Like you know why me now. Right? So there's nothing to be well upset about it, or fine. It's a lot easier to accept it and tolerate it and fine, because whatever I did in the past lives, even past from today onwards, not in my control. जो कर्म बनने थे बंध गए. I don't need to feel it doesn't help to feel guilty over spilled milk, right? So what's done is done. Now I can be an aware soul, be more cautious as whatever things I do, and yet not feel guilty about the past. Past का जो भी मिलना है फल मिलेगा, that's fine. You accept it.
Also,
Okay.
ma'am, we in the last class, Ahinsanu Rata. Hinsanu Rata. So in there we learned that Himsa is whenever any moment we are away from the self, Atma is Himsa.
Exactly, yeah, Rahat Dvesh, right. So देखो, so now that naturally doesn't it tell you, एक तो आपने आम खाया, बहुत राग से खाया. Oh my God, ये हापुस और केसर आम तो अभी सीजन है, तभी आएगा, तो खूब उसको मजे ले लेके खाऊं. एक खाया कि ठीक है खाना तो है ही, कुछ ना कुछ तो ठीक है, ये सामने रखा है, खा लिया. तो देयर इज अ डिफरेंस बिटवीन द भाव. कितनी आसक्ति से कोई चीज को किया, खाया, पिया. So the point is, again, it's not about controlling your desires all the time or, thopifying on yourself. Let it happen naturally. That yes, I'm aware of these things. So naturally, my attachment should be reducing, or, uh, or when I do something, I'm little more aware कि इसमें ज्यादा हिंसा है कि इसमें ज्यादा हिंसा है. मेरे को मेरा पेट भरने से मतलब है. So can I manage with a little less? Can I manage with whatever, if I was eating egg or gamikand or whatever it is? Can I let go? Or if I really like it, can I eat it 4 times out of 5? So naturally you start feeling like that. Okay. Or suppose you cannot give up. Let's say you decided, oh, this is not worth consuming, yet you have this terrible more towards it, then you cannot give up. Then fine, you'll still be observant of it, that I cannot give up. And again, Jainism is not about feeling guilty. Oh my God, वो लोग तो नहीं खाते और हम खा रहे हैं, and we are just the low level souls. No, it's whatever, each individual has their own journey. It comes to you when it comes to you. You keep doing your purusharth, and that's it. Okay. Chalo. So we'll move on to Das Lakshan Mahaparva. Okay, let's do two characters. Arunji and Viraj, you want to read?
Yeah. Yeah, want me to start?
Yeah.
Let me just pull it out.
Okay. Actually, next semester, I think around the Das Lakshan time is when you will get that big Das Lakshan book, which is a self-study. So get ready to be reading on your own.
Yeah.
The second semester.
Mm-hmm.
So, Jinesh, brother Vinod, will you come with me to the temple?
No, brother, I intend to go to the cinema today.
Jinesh, why?
Because my soul is not at peace today, some entertainment will help.
Jinesh, really, brother, you're searching for peace in the cinema. The cinema only enhances attachment and aversion, rag dvesh, aggregating the restlessness. The great Dashlakshana festival has also begun. These days are meant for religious devotional practices. During these days, everyone engages in self-reflection. Atma Chintan, worship, vows, fasting, and other observances. They spend the entire day in scriptural study, discussion on fundamental truths, and similar activities. Although the purpose of every religious festival is ultimately to increase the feeling of dispassion, vitragya bhav, within the soul. But this particular festival is especially associated with the worship of one's inner virtues, Atma Gun. Therefore, it is a festival of dispassion, self-restraint, and spiritual practice. Festival means an auspicious time, a sacred occasion. In truth, the real festival is the manifesting of the dispassionate vitragi state through the right perception of one's own true nature. For that alone is truly auspicious for the soul and genuinely sacred occasion. Since it is associated with 10 supreme virtues, like supreme forbearance, Uttam Shama, etc., it is called the great festival of 10 supreme virtues, Dash Lakshana Mahaparva.
What is the festival of 10 supreme virtues, Dash Lakshan Dharma?
To venerate the 10 forms of right conduct with perfect understanding of the pure nature of the soul, Atma Sabhav, is the religion of 10 supreme virtues, Dash Lakshana Dharma, as Acharya Swami has stated in the Tattva Sutra. Prabhaji.
Very simply the names of the Das Dharma, right? Uttam, Kshama, Bhargavarjava, Shaucha, Satya, Sanyama, Tapas, Tapa, Tyaga, Tyaga, Kinchanya,
Akinchanya.
Brahmacharyani, Tyaga because it's a joint. Tyagan Kinchanya, Brahmacharyani, Dharmaha.
That is Uttam Shama, supreme forbearance. Uttam Mardhav, supreme humility. Uttam Arjav, supreme straightforwardness. Uttam Saucha, supreme contentment. Uttam Satya, supreme truthfulness. Uttam Samayam, supreme self, Samayam, right?
The M sound is silent.
Ah,
It should have a dot on the top, I think.
right, yeah, at the bottom, yeah.
Okay.
Supreme self-restraint. Uttam tap, supreme austerity. Uttam tyag, supreme renunciation. Uttam akinchai, supreme non-attached. Uttam brahmacharya, supreme celibacy. These are the 10 virtues.
We know. Can you explain these 10 supreme virtues, the Lakshya Dharma, more clearly?
Why not? Listen, in the absence of 3 intense passions that are infinite binding, obstructing renunciation, hindering partial renunciation, anantanubudhi, apratyaka kayanvarna,
Apratyakhani.
apratyak kayanvarna, pratyap kayanvarna,
Pratyakhyana varna.
pratyap khyanavarna, right? That's right. Yeah. The pure manifestation of special conduct that arises in enlightened monks is called the real nischay. Supreme 10 virtues of forbearance, humility, etc. And the natural occurring auspicious dispositions such as forgiveness, shama in such monks at the spiritual level is called supreme 10 virtues from conventional viewpoint, vyavhar, which are in the forms of merits, punya. The word supreme, uttam, is used in the sense of being grounded in the right faith from the real viewpoint. Nischay, samya darshan. In reality, supreme forgiveness is the purity achieved by renunciation of 3 types of anger, anantanu buddhi, bandhi, etc. By taking refuge in the soul, which is inherently forgiving across all 3 times, past, present, and future. When with real forbearance, despite experiencing many adverse situations, such as an insult or physical harm, inauspicious dispositions in the form of anger does not arise, but instead the auspicious disposition in the form of forgiveness happens. Such forgiveness is called conventional supreme virtue of forgiveness. In the same way, in reality, the supreme virtue of humility, Uttam Mardhav Dharma, is the purity achieved in the form of renunciation of 3 types of pride, such as infinite binding type, Anantanubudhi, through the refuge of the soul, whose nature is inherently humble across all 3 times. When along with this real humility, despite encouraging various triggers of pride, such as caste and other distinction, the inauspicious disposition of 8 types of prides do not occur, but instead an auspicious ego-free disposition occurs. That is called conventional supreme virtue of humility. Wow,
Okay.
very
supreme-
difficult to
Try
do
to
in day-to-day
understand a little
life.
bit here. Wait,
Okay.
let's, brother, before, instead of finishing the whole chapter, we'll understand this much first.
Yeah.
Okay. So here, first of all, I'm sure we all have done this at some point in our lives where, oh, you're not feeling so great. Let's just relax, watch a movie or watch a show. At least I have done that in my life at some point. And we may think that's going to help us. Usually it doesn't. And also it depends what you put on. I mean, sometimes you put on the news and that can be more depressing than actually helping. So, they're trying to bring out that, those activities may or may not really accomplish what you're trying to do. And if you want peace, the peace is found elsewhere, right? So then they're talking about the Dash Dharma. So these are characteristics of the soul that naturally exist in the soul. Now, uska opposite, which means when the soul is not in its natural state, you have the opposite of Kshama, which is Krodh, opposite of Mardha, which is Man, opposite of Arja, which is Maya, and then Chorch, which is low. So that way, these are the natural characteristics of the soul, and we are not in our natural state. So we have all the Krodh, Man, Maya, Lobh, and all those kashayas in us. Okay. Now, why does it say that in Dharmo mein Anantanubandhi, why are they saying Uttam? Uttam is for the Muniraj who don't have three types of kashais, which we have already gone through several times. They don't have Anantanubandhi, they don't have Pratyakhyani and Apratyakyani. But they do have Sanjvalan kashai. Okay? So, उतनी सी संज्वलन कषाय की भूमिका में भी उनको usually they are in their soul, right? But still when they come out, they are not. And निश्चय से ये सब धर्म क्या है? When you are in your soul, then automatically you're in your pure form. So it all boils down to everything when you are in yourself, then it automatically becomes that as if you are following those dharma, all of them, right? So for every one of them, they will say Nishchay se Trakalik means all three times, past, present, and future. It's Shama Swabhavi Atma. The soul is always has the characteristics of forgiveness, right? And when you take the support of that, and that is when you don't have growth, don't have the anger.
Auntie, what
And
does that mean? What does that mean? Soul is Shama Swabhavi. Like, so can you explain more what the soul, which is inherently forgiving across all?
So the pure soul does not have the characteristics of anger, right? So when the soul is not in its vikari bhav, right? We explain vikari bhav, which is opposite of the nature of the soul. Then it is naturally forgiving. That's the quality of the soul. So, for example, Aryant Bhagwan, yeah, even the higher level sadhus, right? We hear all these stories about Parshnath Bhagwan having one person is giving so much grief to him by ole barsare, whatever. And then Dharnendra, because they're in the snake form right now, they're trying to protect him. But Parshnath doesn't feel there is any need to be, he is forgiving of both. He doesn't say, oh, Dharnendra, you did good thing, you protected me. And the other guy that, no, you were not good to me. So that is called like being within yourself.
Is it forgiving or is it just not being affected by it? Like, chhod dena, right?
Not being affected is technically forgiving.
Yeah. It just seems like forgiving is a conscious action versus not letting it affect you is kind of a passive thing, right?
That's what I'm saying. It's all a play of words, right? So when they have to explain to you, otherwise if you don't need explanation, then it's like just Atma exists. It's just there, right? You don't even need to go into all the details of the characteristics. So, but when you're trying to explain the details of Atma, then you go through all this. Now, इसी प्रकार again निश्चय से मार्दव स्वभावी है. It doesn't have the mayachari deceit in it.
Prabhuji, the conventional supreme virtue of forgiveness will also not give you moksha, right? It is still more give you punya, which will bind you to this thing, right?
No,
because it's finally,
forgiveness is not really an action. Forgiveness is a state of soul, right? So you did not, let's say somebody did something to you, right? Now you chose to not be angry. So you stayed with your own nature. So it's not like, did anything special that way. Versus if you became angry, then you created an act that will give you the papa.
Even if you display the fact that I forgive you, or I did that act of forgiving you, then essentially you are getting punya, right? But not living in your own soul, right?
So, right. Yeah. Not in the true sense of experience.
I think that's what I was getting at, that the soul is
Right.
doing the forgiving. So that's what I was getting a little confused by that.
So real forgiveness is when you are within your soul. The vyavhar forgiveness is what we do, somebody did something to you, you let go, that type of thing.
So it's exactly the opposite, right? When they say Uttam Shama means, right, forgiveness is like an opposite of an anger.
That is true.
Like rather than your impure state of showing anger, or your karm state of showing anger, you are basically trying to show Shama, right, which is the forgiveness, right? So
That's,
so conventional way.
right. So yeah, when you display that, then you're like, okay, I'm going to be just the way I should be. I remember my characteristics and I don't need to be. So it's the same way they say, Krodh, okay, when do we not talk to somebody, or when do we not associate with somebody? When we are angry with them. So they say the worst Krodh you are doing it is towards your own Atma. By not associating with it. See, ekatva karna matlab ki associate. What do we associate right now with? I'm this person's husband, I'm this person's father, mother, whatever, right? We are not associating with our own soul. So normally हम किससे बात नहीं करते, या हम किससे एकत्व नहीं करते जिससे हम नाराज होते हैं, किसको अपना नहीं मानते, राइट? कोई दोस्त से झगड़ा हो गया, अब वो अपना दोस्त नहीं है, right? So they say in real sense, not doing ekatva with your own soul is the biggest form of anger. Make sense?
No, I didn't get that. I'm sorry. So if somebody does something bad to you and you don't associate it with them, how is it that you're
When do
not
you not associate with somebody because you don't like them?
right?
Is that yes? So you're angry with them. So that means he's not your friend, not your relative, whatever, right? So what we are saying is when we do the same thing to our soul, which is when we don't associate with it, we don't think this is me, that is anger towards your soul. That's what it is.
That
Okay, you got it? All right.
yeah, that.
That's the
But
kind of
one
the
thing
highest form of anger.
in a family life, and you have to do certain things, otherwise you feel people will take advantage of you. If you say somebody, I may not get angry, but I have to distance myself if I'm doing business and somebody does
It
this.
all depends on what does it depend on? What state you are in, right? So basically, they say, I don't know what's wrong. Either it's my internet or something. To you
Yeah,
guys
the video
also,
is
my face is coming very fuzzy,
very
right?
grainy.
yes.
Yeah, very grainy.
Very grainy. I don't know if it has to do with my internet or
It's
just the Zoom.
looks
way
dark.
it-
It's not bright.
Yeah, I have no
Yeah,
idea what is going on.
mostly
I
internet. The internet
think it's
bandwidth.
just
Speed.
well, as long as you can hear me, that should be fine.
Yeah, we can hear you.
I'm going to turn on the lamp if it has anything to do with the low light.
Yeah,
Did it
much
help
better
any?
now.
It's
Yeah,
a
much
you know,
better now.
that is what it is then. Okay, it's just that I didn't turn the light on in my room. Okay. Oh yeah,
So
that is.
we
what's
do
that?
it
Okay.
now in our regular life.
So okay, so what I was saying was that okay. So normally the Gyanis will say, let people take advantage of you. Just be saral. Let people think you are buddhu. We don't like it, right? If somebody thinks, oh, you're not smart, I know this. How can I accept it? I'm going to argue with you till the nth level, right? But that is not what is prescribed for the mature, knowledgeable person. And actually, in even in the worldly things, at least in the old days, it used to be like this, that the older the person got, the quieter they got. like our grandfathers and those, or even prior to that time frame, they wouldn't talk much. And when they talked, it would be very short wisdom type of words. So there is something that says about it. The more you know, the more you don't want to talk about it, because you know that the people are at a different level. So
somebody would possibly harm you, right? It would be all materialistic, right? Somebody will just
right,
possibly
so it's like,
get
who
more
can
money
bother
out
my
of you
soul?
or do something, right? And that is something that we always never have, right? We always have our soul, right? So that way, that's the logic
Exactly.
here.
And it's also, the world is changing. I mean, I have actually seen people like that in my life, where if somebody steals, somebody unko buddhu bana ke le gaya, and fine, they're not that bothered with it. हमारे तो ego पे आ जाएगी. Oh, how could somebody do this to me? You know?
Yeah.
So,
Rather than that amount of loot, right? More of it's always ego. Let's say somebody takes
it's
$20
always
from you.
ego. Yes.
$20 will not make much of a difference, but ego is what makes a difference. Somebody just fooled me, right?
Yes,
So
exactly.
Yeah, I
Exactly.
think it's both ego and also everybody needs minimum material things, at least the stage we are in. Like if somebody just took my house and I had no place to stay, then it's a big problem. I can't just let that happen, So it's both, right? You need certain level minimum things
Again,
you gotta
what
have.
does it boil down to? Moha ki mahima. This Moharaja is so strong. Just this afternoon, we were listening to some pravachan, and he says this Moha is like a king. It says, you are owner of this house, and we are like these puppets. Okay, I'm owner of this house. Okay, you are father of this person. Okay, it's all Moha that is making you do that. For those whose Moha is down, they don't worry about it. What happens to sadhus, right? Do they need a house? No. मिल गया तो ठीक है, नहीं तो जंगल में सो गए.
So when we say I have to do something, we have to go back to the chapter "Main kaun hu?" Who am I? That's the fundamental
Exactly.
question to ask,
Yeah.
right? What do
It's
I
all
mean
the
when
more
I know
towards our
this?
body that's making us do all these things.
It's our
And also
personality.
this, yeah. And also this Nishchayanaya Vyavaranaya, that's what, correct? These are all Vyavar. That means it's not, it's relative, it's not truth, absolute truth.
Exactly. It's different for everybody.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, there are dharmic people who everything gets snatched away from them and they'll still be okay.
I'm not at that stage yet.
it's a very
Good, you
difficult
can
stage also.
understand.
It's a very difficult stage, and not
If you
everybody,
were,
Prabhuji, is meant to
you would
be
be
that,
teaching
right?
this class, Virajji, if you were at that stage,
Well,
or even beyond
I
that.
mean, it's okay. So it's not like that. You cannot say not everybody is meant to be like that. Whoever wants to be can be.
Yeah.
But
Okay, so there
then
is
the
no
karma,
Different stage.
the karma
yeah.
doesn't come like, let's say, in the previous birth, right, or previous gati, I would have done some karma, then I would not have this form of that's the reason I have this form of attachment. Something like, let's say, I like this kind of food a lot and I'm not able to do it. Maybe is this because of my previous karma, right, that I'm not able to give it up?
Well, okay, maybe some of it may be some karma, but no, not really. Have you given up things at some point in time? Or has it happened where you like something very much and today you don't?
Yeah, that has happened a lot of times. Yes.
So how did it happen?
Over the years.
So if
Okay.
it was previous karmas, then it shouldn't have, right? So when a child is playing with something really good toy, right? Now grandparents come, they bring even a bigger toy. How difficult it is for the child to give up the one he was playing with.
Very easy.
So it's the same thing for us. If we understand the Mahima of Atma, then that hunger of being with the Atma makes it very easy to give up anything.
And why does it differ from people to people? Let's say if many people
Because
would understand this, right?
can everybody be the topper? Everybody's level of effort is different. Everybody's level of what do you call? Yeah, I mean, some of it is their own how much moha that they have to get rid of. Yet, effort is obviously the only thing we can focus on, even though there is other factors involved. Yes, you either have already heard it or it will come in our course. There is Panch Samvay, so 5 things that matter, right? But out of the 5, only thing we can be concerned about is the Purusharth, what effort we are able to make.
The Purusharth here is how much time I'm able to be with my soul, right, and not with the worldly
Yes, that is
activities.
the
That is
ultimate Purusharth. Yes. But until I can do that, right, in my day-to-day life, how much time I'm able to devote to it, or even when I am not devoting to, let's say, Swadhyaya or meditation, in my day-to-day activities, how aware I am, how much I'm able to distinguish myself from body and me, other objects and me. You don't need to be always sitting down and doing that. You could be doing that day in and day out, right? Whatever activity you're doing, it doesn't take much effort to say, oh, this is not me, this is not. That constant reminder of who I am.
Constant reminder, yeah. And the further you progress, the more you are reminded of that all the time, right?
Yes. Yes.
And ultimately,
I mean, like,
all
when
you
you
want to do
first
is
drive, what happens? When you first start driving, what happens? Oh, is my brake? Oh, let me see if my foot is on the brake or is it on the accelerator. Did I change the gear? And you're like, you don't want to move your head here or there. You're like trying to make sure you're straight, your steering isn't moving and all that. And then after a while, what happens?
it becomes
You're
effortless.
talking, listening to songs, everything, and it's become
Yeah.
second nature.
So effortless ho jata hai. The same thing with thinking of Atma and being with Atma. It becomes, but you have to keep practicing it again and again and again and again.
Exactly. The
Then
more practice you have, the more it becomes second nature.
Mhm.
So the Samyak Drashti Jeev, for him or her, it's constantly within them that this is who I am. They know what it is. Even though they may look like us mundane souls, still doing business, still doing whatever else they need to do, but inside, it's a very different thing.
Mhm.
And it is, yeah, it is definitely Purusharth and practice.
ये उत्तम शब्द का यूज क्यों किया है, ये थोड़ा ठीक से समझ में नहीं आया प्रभा जी.
Uttam applies to sadhu. Uttam applies to Samyak Drashti. तो हमारी भूमिका में अभी एवरीथिंग इज प्रैक्टिस रूप. सी ये सारे धर्म भी प्रकट किसको
तो
होंगे?
क्षमा और उत्तम क्षमा में क्या फर्क हुआ? लेट्स जस्ट डू वन टू वन
अभी
कंपैरिजन.
क्षमा हम लोगों को होती है, जैसे लाइक नॉर्मल हम क्षमा कर देते हैं किसी को.
sorry बोलते हैं.
उत्तम क्षमा है जो अपने आत्मा के गुण प्रकट कर रहा है, विच इज यूजुअली सम्यक दृष्टि, मुनिराज और आगे की भूमिका में.
Is it the same as Mahavrat and Anuvrat kind of difference?
Kind of, yeah.
Mhm.
So basically what we are saying is Shama is what we are practicing without being in the soul awareness. And the Uttam Shama is what is naturally occurring after you have realized
Soul.
or touched that
Right.
soul awareness, right? Okay.
Yes.
Correct.
So, like, for example, just to elaborate Arun Bhai's point here, let's say somebody hit me and I'm like, you know what, it's okay, chota bacha tha, chhod do, forgive kar diya. But like when you are Uttam Shama is like, you know, usne mara, but you don't even think, it's okay. You know, usse koi raag bhi nahi hai, dvesh bhi nahi hai, matlab
किसको
क्षमा वाला कहेगा कि ये मेरा स्वभाव ही नहीं है कि मैं
किसको
उसको
मारा?
क्या फर्क पड़ रहा है
पुद्गल को
और
मारा.
क्या
पुद्गल ने पुद्गल को मारा, मैं तो देखता रह गया.
राइट और क्षमा का तो कोई मतलब इन अ वे सवाल ही नहीं आता है. दैट इज बिकम्स उत्तम क्षमा.
Because you didn't feel bad, so there is nothing to
Yeah.
nothing to
Right.
Right, there's nothing
There's
to
nothing to
forgive.
forgive.
So that is उत्तम क्षमा. जब कुछ forgive करने के लिए है ही नहीं, तो
ही
then
नहीं तो
is that right?
yes, because my association is with my soul, So now, if this ball hit this table, how much is it going to bother me? पुद्गल ने पुद्गल को मार दिया तो मार दिया. Doesn't affect me. I was just the observer.
So these 10 virtues, right, are all at a conventional level, right, and nothing at the real. Real is always
The real
to
is
be in
just,
your
yes,
Atma.
the soul, being in the soul.
I
Yes.
think once you say Uttam
नहीं,
Kshama,
उत्तम
that is
is
more
हाँ,
on Nishchay.
yeah,
And
उत्तम
Kshama
is at the
itself
root.
is Vyavhar, right?
Exactly.
Is that correct?
Yes. Yes.
But
Okay,
प्रभा
so
जी इसमें
next
जो हिंदी वर्जन जो है उसमें थोड़ा सा कॉन्ट्रडिक्टरी लग रहा है कुछ.
बताइए क्या है.
इसमें लिखा है, एक पैराग्राफ है, निश्चय से तो त्रैकालिक क्षमा स्वभावी आत्मा के आश्रय से अनंतानुबंधी आदि 3 प्रकार के क्रोध के त्याग रूप शुद्धि ही उत्तम क्षमा है. निश्चय क्षमा के साथ होने वाली निंदा और शरीर घात आदि अनेक प्रतिकूल संयोगों के आ पड़ने पर भी क्रोध रूप अशुभ भाव न होकर शुभ भाव रूप क्षमा होना व्यवहार से उत्तम क्षमा है.
तो
व्यवहार
अब
से
क्या
उत्तम
मतलब
क्षमा
हुआ,
है, ये समझ में नहीं आया
देखो.
मुझे.
यस, बिकॉज पहली बात तो बता दिया कि वो 3 प्रकार के अनंतानुबद्धि, प्रत्याख्यानी, अप्रत्याख्यानी जहां
हाँ,
नहीं है
वो
संजय
हमें
कषाय
निश्चय सम्यक दर्शन की तरफ ले गया, राइट?
राइट, उनको निश्चय से है. ठीक है. नाउ वो भी मुनिराज, अब जब जैसे पार्शनाथ भगवान का एग्जाम्पल अपन ने दिया कि वो जब व्यवहार से क्या हुआ, when he didn't react to this person who was trying to harm him. You understand? तो वो व्यवहार वाला क्षमा हुआ. Give me a second, let me turn on.
You guys are getting it?
Yeah, yeah. No, how I take it is Shama is the real thing, like not sorry, not the real thing. Shama is
Shama.
like when we say sorry, right? Let's say we just by accidentally do something and we say sorry. That's just the feeling of sorry without even knowing Samyak Darshan, Samyak Gyan, without
वो
knowing
व्यवहार
the
क्षमा
Jinwani.
होगा. व्यवहार
Right.
व्यवहार
That is a
होगा.
आई विल नॉट से व्यवहार के व्यवहार और निश्चय भी हमने जिनवाणी के बाद ही जाना, राइट. मैं जनरल क्षमा की बात कर रहा हूँ. एक जनरल क्षमा वो हो जाता है, राइट, जनरल फॉरगिवनेस, राइट. बाद में जो है जो उत्तम क्षमा जो बोल रहे हैं, राइट, फ्रॉम अ जिनवाणी पर्सपेक्टिव, राइट, इज उसमें भी 2 आ जाते हैं, एक रियल, एक कन्वेंशनल. रियल व्यू इज इफ आई एम इन माई सोल, राइट, विद द राइट फेथ, द 3 ज्वेल्स, right, then that is the real form of sorry, real उत्तम क्षमा,
उत्तम क्षमा.
राइट. एंड जो कन्वेंशनल वो है कि मुझे एक्चुअली एंगर आना चाहिए था. लेट्स से किसने मुझे गलती से मारा, राइट, तो मुझे मुझे एंगर आना चाहिए था. फर्स्ट थिंग दैट शुड कम इज एंगर, बट वो एंगर नहीं आ रहा है, राइट, और उससे जो है मुझे ऑस्पिशियस, राइट, एक फॉरगिवनेस के भाव आ रहा है. दैट बिकम्स कन्वेंशनल, स्टिल उत्तम क्षमा. दैट इज माई
राइट.
अंडरस्टैंडिंग.
राइट. सो अब उसमें भी देखो क्या बताया, क्रोध हुआ तो कैसा भाव हुआ, अशुभ भाव हुआ. पर जब रिएक्शन नहीं आया, क्रोध नहीं आया, तो वो अपने शुभ भाव में रहे. शुभ भाव कब होगा? when they are not in meditation. मेडिटेशन में जब है वो अपनी आत्मा में है तब तो शुद्ध भाव में है. बट इफ दे आर नॉट and they are not in the meditation, then that forgiveness is also Shubha.
Eventually, the conventional supreme virtue of forgiveness will also not lead to moksha. It will lead to
Of
devgati,
course,
right?
yeah, वो
But
पहले
not
से
lead
हमने
to.
establish कर दिया. अब वो पार्श्वनाथ भगवान ने वो कमट को वो कर दिया, forgive कर दिया. That is not a reason for his moksha. Yes.
तो प्रभा जी, अमित ने जो अभी एक्सप्लेन किया, उसने उत्तम क्षमा के 2 रूप बताए. ही सेइंग उत्तम क्षमा 2 तरह की है. वन इज निश्चय और एक व्यवहार. आई थॉट
बिल्कुल
उत्तम क्षमा वाज निश्चय एंड क्षमा वाज व्यवहार. am
नहीं,
I wrong
नहीं.
or?
No, 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 no. What Amit said is correct. Okay. So now the other two, Bahubali ji and Amit ji, दोनों पढ़ लो अभी और आर्जव से.
Yeah, I can be Vinod. Bahubali ji. Okay, Vinod, and supreme straightforwardness, Arjav.
Same way, in reality, the supreme virtue of straightforwardness, Uttama Arjav Dharma, is the purity achieved in the form of renunciation of three types of deceitfulness, such as an infinite binding type, etc., Anantanubandhi, through the refuse of the soul, whose nature is inherently straightforward across all three times. When, along with this real straightforwardness, inauspicious dispositions of deceit do not occur, but instead an auspicious, straightforward disposition occurs. That is called conventional supreme virtue of straightforwardness. In the same way, in reality, the supreme virtue of contentment, Uttama Shaucha Dharma, is the purity achieved in the form of renunciation of the three types of greed, such as infinite binding type, etc., Anantanubandhi, etc., through the refuse of the soul, whose nature is inherently of contentment across all three times. When, along with this real contentment, inauspicious dispositions of greed do not occur, but instead an auspicious contented disposition occurs, that is called conventional supreme virtue of contentment.
Vinod, and speaking the truth is itself true virtue, Satya Dharma, isn't it?
Jinesh, oh brother, speech is merely a modification, paryaya, of matter, Pudgala. How can there be a righteousness in it? The pure manifestation that arises in the soul, which by nature is endowed with knowledge across all three times, and which is free from the three passions, that alone is real supreme virtue, Nishchaya Uttama Satya Dharma. And conventionally, Vyavahara, that auspicious disposition of speaking truthful words, which is accompanied by the real true virtue, is the supreme truthful virtue. In the same way, in reality, the pure modification, Shuddha Parinati, arising through the refuse of the soul, whose nature is restraint, Samyama, across all three times, characterized by the absence of the three passions, is the highest form of the religion of restraint, Uttama Sanyama Dharma. And along with this real restraint, the complete renunciation of violence, etc., and control over the senses in accordance with the stage of ascetic conduct is conventional supreme virtue of restraint.
Vinod, brother, you explained very well. If you have time, could you elaborate a little?
Jinesh, right now there is a little time. It is the time for the sermon. Every evening there are 3 sermons on these 10 dharmas, so you can listen to the details there. Right now, I also need to briefly explain the remaining topics like austerity and renunciation, that is tapa and tyaga. In the same way, in reality, the supreme virtue of austerity, uttama tapa dharma, is the purity achieved in the form of renunciation of the 3 types of passions, through the refuse of the soul, whose nature is inherently of knowledge across all 3 times. When, along with this real austerity, the auspicious dispositions of observance, of fast, etc., is conventional supreme virtue of austerity. In the same way, in reality, the supreme virtue of non-attachment, Uttama Kinchana Dharma, is the purity achieved in the form of renunciation of 3 types of passions, through the refuse of the soul, whose nature is inherently of knowledge across all 3 times. When, along with this real non-attachment, thus auspicious dispositions of renouncing possessions, is the conventional supreme virtue of non-attachment. In reality, the supreme virtue of celibacy, Uttama Brahmacharya Dharma is the purity achieved by indulging in, delighting in, or becoming absorbed in the soul whose nature is inherently blissful, who is the Supreme Self, Parama Brahma, across all three times. When, along with this real celibacy, the auspicious dispositions of renouncing the indulgence in woman is the conventional supreme virtue of celibacy.
Vinod, what is the difference between real and conventional virtue, dharma?
Jinesh, the real virtue of supreme forgiveness, etc., acquired through pure form of auspicious dispositions, is the cause of liberation because it leads to stoppage of karmic influx and shedding of karmas. Whereas the auspicious dispositions like forgiveness, etc., practiced conventionally, is the cause of bondage of meritorious karma, punya bandha.
Vinod, the aforementioned forms of real and conventional supreme forgiveness, etc., 10 virtues are for ascetics. What about us?
Jinesh, brother, virtues are the same for all. It is different matter that the ascetics attain higher purity, characterized by the absence of the most intense infinite binding, that's Ananta Anubandhi, etc. Three types of passions, whereas the householders, in accordance with their spiritual stage, abandon one or two such passions only and achieve partial purity of the self.
Okay. So it explained to you now what happens in our Bhumika, right? Because
Yep.
we cannot, why can we not have the Nishchay Wala, the Slakshana
Uttam.
Dharma? Why can't we have Uttam?
We are not munis, right?
We don't have the soul experience,
Yeah,
right? So मुनि
they're
को
not सम्यक
soul
दृष्टि.
experience के साथ में 3 कषाय का अभाव है, इसलिए उनके लिए सारे धर्म उत्तम है. हमारे 1 या 2 कषाय के अभाव है, तो जितना हमारे अभी तो एक्चुअली कोई भी कषाय का अभाव नहीं है, राइट? सम्यक दर्शन जो पहली बार सम्यक दर्शन जिसको होता है उसका 1 कषाय चौथे का अभाव, अनंतानुबंधी का अभाव होता है. तो जैसी जैसी भूमिका है वैसी वैसी शुद्धि होगी प्राप्त, राइट? तो वो सारा शुभ भाव की कैटेगरी में जाएगा.
Prabhaji, we had 4 types of passion, right? So why every time 3 types of passion is mentioned? I forgot that.
Because they still have the
4
fourth
types.
type.
Sanjana.
Muniraj still has the 4th type of passion.
Sanjana, yeah.
So they don't have 3. The Sanjolana.
That's right.
Oh,
So
okay.
they still have the
Yeah.
second passion. That goes quite late in the 10th or 12th constant. So whenever there is no passions, then you will become Keval Gyani.
Yep.
Okay. So most of it is same for the, just like it is for Shama and Mardhav. Same thing applies to Arjav, Satya, Soch, Akinchanya. Same thing. Akinchanya would be the attachment towards thing. Brahma against, Muniraj ki dasha mein, they have nothing to do with the opposite sex. So, वो है ही नहीं. तो सभी में मुनिराज की भूमिका में भी there is always the व्यवहार aspect of it. And for us, it's mostly the vyavahar aspect of it.
Tyag and
I think
Akinchanya, what with the difference, right? It's renunciation, non-attachment, both are not one and the same.
त्याग कोई चीज करने के लिए आपको आपके पास वो चीज होनी चाहिए. मैं वो ताजमहल का त्याग करती हूँ. Can I? I never owned it.
तो अकिंचनीय भी नॉन अटैचमेंट, जिसका मुझे अटैचमेंट होगा उसका ही नॉन अटैचमेंट की बात होगी ना?
No, you may not own something yet be attached to it. Don't we have wishful thinking? अभी किसी के पास 1 बेडरूम का घर है, बट उसको अटैचमेंट तो 5 बेडरूम के घर से है. उसका गोल तो है कि मैं कब कितना कमाऊं कि मैं वो वाला घर ले लूं बड़ा. right?
So overall non-attachment is even a bigger thing than
Right.
renunciation, because renunciation तो मैं जिससे attach हूँ उसको छोड़ने की बात कर रहा हूँ, लेकिन यहाँ
छोड़ना
पे तो
is
wishful
not
thing.
right. So
See
अभी
that
suppose छोड़ चले गए, there are a lot of sadhus like that जो कि अभी संसार छोड़ दिया, which is good because at least they don't have that distraction. But still, if they're not true sadhus, you go to them and they will, let's say you are a relative or a friend, and now you're telling them what's going on in the family. And if they have not left complete attachment, they would still be interested in hearing what's going on with the family.
I think
Was
Akinchin. Sorry, go ahead, please.
so, and those who have completely renounced the attachment, they will be least interested, just like तुम
Yeah.
किसी तीसरे person की बात कर रहे हो.
Think well, somewhere I read or in some of the discourse I heard like Akinchana is like opposite of Kinchit Matra. So the
Yeah.
Kinchit Matra is so little attachment. It's
Slightest
infinite.
of attachment.
Yeah. So that's a Kinchit Matra. Akinchin.
Mhm. Mhm. So Muniraj in general are
and,
not supposed to have the slightest of attachment to anything.
and is there a difference between akinchanya and aparigraha?
No, Akinchanya, Parigraha, both are the same. Parigraha is opposite of Akinchanya. So Aparigraha and Akinchan both mean the same thing.
Synonyms.
And is this an order? Right? Why is this in this order when we say 10 days, the right of Adarsh Lakshan?
I really don't think the order really matters.
Hmm.
And sometimes it is some different places you might see slightly different order too.
I would say, Prabhaji, it is more of it starts with the passion first, means Kashaya. That's where very obvious. And there's Krodha, Mana, Maya, Lobha. So first four are like
visible, so maybe that's why they give first those four and then slowly. But they're all of equal importance.
Yeah.
Okay. Did anybody read? Did I give you guys homework to read the Balbhadra Ram story?
No.
Okay, so then nobody did it. Did we talk about you can express any changes in your attitude, thinking process, all that? We'll try to do a session of that where everybody can express that.
Correct. Yeah, we spoke about that last time.
Right. So let's first finish the syllabus and then the Gandhar Mulyankan. Anybody ready for Gandhar Mulyankan today?
What is that?
Not
Oh, okay.
Bahubali was saying something and
Bahubali,
you
you're
are
on mute.
muted. You're on
You're
mute.
muted, Bahubali ji.
sorry.
Bahubali, you're
We'll be
muted.
ready next week. I said sorry.
Okay, fine. So everybody choose their topics and post it in the
Yeah.
group. What topic you're going to take, okay? So, okay, then today at least we should finish this Balbhadra Ram. It's a very simple story, easy to understand. There's going to be few things different than the Ramayana that you have heard possibly. So, okay, let's do Safalta ji and Nidhi ji. आपके इस पे वसूल लिखा है आज पर या चलो आप दोनों पढ़िए छात्र और अध्यापक.
There's no English version of this yet, right?
There is
There should be.
a doc, right? Not a PDF, right? A Word document, a DOC
Oh, okay.
I
extension.
forwarded whatever Varsha ji sent it to me.
Correct.
I think it said, did it say 9 and 10?
10 and 11. The 9th was the section.
Okay, so 10, 11. Did she just post a document, not the?
It's a document.
Okay, so maybe she's not done completely reviewing. That's why she probably just sent it the way raw form of it. Okay. So
Yeah.
it's fine if we find mistakes, we should just make a note of it.
Yep.
Okay, you have it open?
Yeah. Shall I start reading?
Are you good,
छात्र
Nidhi? Yeah.
क्या
You
राम
look
और हनुमान भगवान नहीं है?
Okay, I'm going to read in English.
Yeah,
Who
that's
say,
fine.
who says they are not gods? They attained the state of liberation from the Mangi Tungi Siddha Kshetra, the place from where souls have attained liberation, and are eternally seated as Siddha, liberated gods. We say in Nirvan Khan, Ram, Hanu, Sugriv, Sudil, Sudil, Gavaksha, Neel, Mahaneel, Koti, Kodi,
Yeah.
Ninyanva, Ninyanv, Ninyanv, Mukti, Payan,
Ayan.
Payan, 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 Tungi, Giri, Bando, Dhari, Dhyan.
Mm-hmm.
Showed it to Grieve and other monkeys and Nala, Nila, who were bears, also attained liberation. Did they also become gods?
Hanuman Sugriv were not monkeys, nor were Nal Neel bears. They were exceptionally handsome and noble personalities who attained complete detachment and omniscience in their lives through self-realization, Atma Sadhana.
Then why are they called monkeys, etc.?
The clan to which they belonged were called monkey clan, Vanara. Similarly, Ravan was not demon, Rakshas. He was a king of three parts of the world, Trikhandi, and belonged to the demon clan.
People say he had 10 faces. Is this true?
Can there be any person with 10 faces? His name was indeed 10-faced, Dashmukha. The reason was that when he was a child lying in a cradle, a necklace of 9 gems was around his neck. It reflected his face, appearing as 10 faces. Hence, people called him Dashmukha.
Where was Ram born?
Ram was born to Kaushalya, the queen of Ayodhya's king Dashrath. That same child Ram later became Bhagwan, God Ram, through self-realization. King Dashrath had four queens. Kaushalya gave birth to Ram, Sumitra gave birth to Lakshman, Kaikeyi gave birth to Bharat, and Suprabha gave birth to Shatrughan.
Oh, so Ram had 3 brothers and
Ram was married to Sita, the daughter of King Jana. When Dashrath thought that his eldest son Ram had become capable of handling the responsibilities of the kingdom, he decided to hand over the reins to Ram and immerse himself in self-realization. Therefore, he announced Ram's coronation. But
what?
Queen Kaikeyi wanted her son Bharat to become the king. She therefore demanded 2 boons from King Dashrath that he had promised her earlier, that Ram be sent to exile for 14 years and Bharat be granted the kingdom. The king was grieved to hear this, but he was bound by his promise, and Ram had to go to the forest. Sita and his brother Lakshman also went with him.
They must have faced many hardships during the exile.
Why would brave men like Ram and Lakshman care about small hardships? But an incident like Sita's abduction disturbed them very much.
Who abducted Sita?
The king of Lanka, Ravan did. He was a ruler of three parts of that era. Hanuman, Sugriv, and other were kings under his sovereignty, but his vile act turned them away from him. Even his younger brother Vibhishan tried to counsel him, but Ravan's destiny was sealed, and he listened to no one. Eventually, even Vibhishan had to leave his court.
Then what happened?
Ram and Lakshman attacked Lanka. Vibhishan, Sugriv, Nal, Neel, Hanuman, and other Mandaleshwar kings king of subdivisions of large kingdom appointed by the emperor, supported Ram and Lakshman, and the wicked Ravan met the fate he deserved. That is, Ravan was killed and Ram Lakshman were victorious. Sita was reunited with Ram. The 14 years came to an end and Ram and Lakshman returned to Ayodhya and began to rule.
Well, that's good. The crisis ended. Then Sita and Ram must have lived happily, enjoying worldly pleasures.
Is there any happiness in worldly pleasures? They were always called abodes of misery. As long as the soul harbors delusion, attachment, and aversion, there are only miseries around. Sita and Ram did not live peacefully for even a few days when, due to public slander, Ram exiled the pregnant Sita. In the dangerous forest, if the king of Pundarikapura, Vajram, Vajram, Vajra, Vajrangha,
Jang
had not
Use.
had not taken her as his sister and given her shelter, then
Then,
in Pundarikapura, Sita gave birth to twin sons, Love and Kush. Both brothers were as brave, patient, and powerful as Ram and Lakshman. They even fought a battle with Ram and Lakshman.
who won?
Both sides remained undefeated. Before the final decision of victory or defeat could be made, they found out the battle was between father and son. So the battlefield turned into a place of loving devotee.
So now did Sita's sorrows finally end?
Sorrows can never come to an end with the background of attachment and aversion. Only way to end sorrows is through detachment, vitrag.
Then what happened?
Ram refused to accept Sita without the trial by fire.
Then,
The great Sita entered the fire and demonstrated her purity. The fierce flames transformed into cool, calm water. This miracle was performed by the Deva, heavenly being, to uphold the dignity of virtues.
then Ram must have accepted Sita.
Yes, Ram was ready to accept Sita, but Sita did not accept to burn in the fire of mundane household life because she truly realized that there is no happiness in worldly pleasures. The way to attain happiness is only through the path of detachment. Therefore, she took the vows of a female ascetic uh, and immersed herself in spiritual practice. Arika.
And Ram?
After some time, Ram also saw the futility of the worldly life and became a detached ascetic. He destroyed attachment and aversion and reached the ultimate state of self-realization and omniscience.
The story of Ram is very interesting and educational. I enjoyed it a lot and learned many new things. Please explain in detail, teacher.
There is no time to tell it in detail now. If you want to know in detail, you should study the Padma Purana written by Ravi Senacharya. Acharya. Ravi
That must
Senacharya.
that must be in Sanskrit.
Yes, originally it is in Sanskrit, but Pandit Daulat Ram Kasliwal has translated it in Hindi.
Where can I find it?
In the temple. The Padma Purana is found in every Jain temple in India, and many people read it daily.
Okay. So, what did you learn? What was different than what you had heard before?
There's just one small confusion near the beginning. It says Ravan was not a demon, and then it says he belonged to the demon clan.
Right.
तो उसका क्या मतलब how can he belong to the clan and not be a demon then?
जैसे नहीं आप काल और इस last names. It's
Sorry?
a type of grouping. जैसे अग्रवाल्स, ओसवाल्स ऐसे नहीं होते अलग अलग clans. So that his clan was named demon clan.
नहीं तो वो बोल रहे कि वो राक्षस नहीं था लेकिन राक्षस जात like कुल में था.
कुल में था, right. वैसे ही वानर भी कुल का नाम है. It's not actual monkeys.
There was no Rakshak. Rakshak was always a clan.
Right. रियलिटी में राक्षस भी होते होंगे, पर रावण के केस में वो it was just the name of his clan.
Yeah. But here the story should not be more about how did Ram achieved, right, detachment, right, and aversion, right? Because if he has got Siddh, right, how did he? Because he was involved into all this, right? His attachment to Sita was the reason he tried to find her after the abduction. So
Obviously. So that's
yeah,
what
so
they're
how?
saying. And when Sita also realized that there is really no happiness in this bhog ka life, she realized that all this testing, all through her life, all this, what was she going, why was she going through all that? Because of attachment towards Ram. And same thing for Ram. Why did he have all this fighting? Why did he kill Ravan? He didn't kill actually in Jain Ramayana, it's Lakshman who kills. But why all that? Because of the attachment. So both at different times realized that it was not worth it. So they decided to renunciate. And Ram reached moksha from the same life. Sita did not reach moksha, she went to Swarga.
Okay, but then how is it possible to get it from that bow itself? Because there was Raga, right? He had a lot of attachment, right? At least
So
till he
same
experienced.
rag. In the same, it's all about Purushar. How much, with what intensity you do your meditation when you accomplish it. So
Okay.
meditation, power of nullifying all the karmas that you have.
Hmm.
So
Okay.
yes, he
And just maybe not related to this story, Prabhaji, but now because of this story, right? Why are only the 24 Tirthankars, right? The Arihant, right? Why were they the only one who propagated the knowledge? Because many have become Siddh, right? So obviously, when they become Siddh, they would have become Arihant.
राइट पर अभी जैसे सब लोग टीचर क्यों नहीं होते हैं नॉलेज तो सबको है
But
Because they
then
have they had the
is the
Tirthankar Nama Karma, right? And the others did not.
so they wished whenever he got that accomplishment or samyak darshan or whatever that wish came to his mind that I wish I would spread this knowledge and that happens even today somebody figures out how to make a lot of money they want to tell everybody how to do that right or somebody figures out how to lose weight you will notice all these advertisements about somebody teaching you a way to lose weight. Oh my God, the advertisement say, I went through so many blah, 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 nothing worked. And now this worked. So now I want to spend my life spreading the word of this thing. So
so this
in
wish was before Samyak
they,
Darshan?
uh, no, I
It
don't
can't
think
be
it is.
after, right? Once you have Samyak Darshan, how would you, right? Because you know the right faith, you know the right knowledge. The conduct
I
has not come,
know
right? But
the right faith, but you don't have the right charitra fully.
but
I
wish
would think
this wish can't
after
be a
Samedha
charitra.
because तीर्थंकर नाम कर्म जिस भव में तीर्थंकर होते हैं उसके 3 भव पहले बनता है so most likely they are samidrishti when that happens
I remember, according to the Kramabadpari, I had seen Pandit Bharil many years ago at Jaina, and उसमें कुछ तो भी लिखा था वो Kramabadpari that the Tirthankars are determined not just 3 lives in advance, but like millions of years. Like it's like वो पूरा आरा का determine होता है. I don't know if
oh
that's
क्या है मैं तो the whole infinity is already decided
okay.
so that's a different concept altogether yes
और जब हम छोटे थे तो we always to hear stories about Krishna कि कृष्णा जो उन्होंने किया है महाभारत में so he is now in नरक में but next आरा में वो तीर्थंकर बनेंगे so so he's doing prayashchit for whatever bad things has been done right turning that day to night and all those things but then अभी तीर्थंकर बनेंगे but they're saying कि Ram and Hanuman वो सीधा सिद्ध हो गए They will not become Tirthankar. Wo Sita, they've gone to Siddhashet.
Even Ravana is also become sort of
Ravan also, right. Next Ara mein, next cycle mein, he'll be Tirthankar, right? I think. That's it.
सीता जी उनके गंधर होंगे.
Yeah.
Right.
That-
So it explains to you the vichitrata of karma. Today you're something, tomorrow something else. It just makes you wonder. It's all like pointless, right? So what's the big deal?
Round
You know,
and
all,
round. And we go.
all these relationships that we are so attached to. Who knows tomorrow what we're going to be, where we're going to be thrown out. So even there, all those things come about because they had too much attachment towards those souls. And even it's funny, people all think Ravan of a bad guy, right? Because he told Sita ji. But the original, if you hear in more stories, it is that Ram had abducted. Sita was in some other life, Ravan's wife, and Ram had taken her away. So, and Sita and were in love, and poor Ram got left out, right? So, in this life, Ram got married to Sita, and because Ravan already had that from his previous life, you know, he wanted to get her back. So, in that situation, now not the Ravan bad guy, right? Now it's poor Ravan,
And
whose
and
wife
the
some previous life.
and the lesson is that somebody has to break that cycle, right? Because now Ram has done this. Now next life, when Ravan will do it again, then Ram will do it again. So your willpower comes in there. That you have the ability to say, no, I'm not going to take revenge. I'm going to stop the cycle right here.
Exactly.
Sure.
Sita yet was still in Swarg. So she was now in this life attached to Ram. So when Ram is in meditation, she comes down from Swarg to disturb him because she's attached to him. Then Ram still doesn't get disturbed and goes to Moksha. Then she goes to Ravan also in Narak to explain to him that whatever you're doing wrong thing, whatever. So this is all khel of what? Attachment.
So maybe again out of context, but how do you know future Tirthankars? I've heard the Surya Kirti would be the future Tirthankars. How would that be?
What does Sarvagya mean? Didn't we study originally what is Ariyant or Siddhake Gun?
Past,
They
present,
know
future,
past,
everything.
present, everything.
Yeah.
So
3
everything
times.
is visible, yes. Infinity past, present, infinity future.
Okay, so you're saying that this has been said by the Siddhas itself, right? Aryans, and that's where okay.
How otherwise we
So-
don't have that. Yeah.
So they kevali gamme.
Both hand in hand. The fact that Aryans could say it must be determined.
Mm.
So again, Krambad is a difficult concept because you know everybody takes it to the way they want to take it, and that's where people go wrong. Only thing you have to take it is Aryant ko believe karo because they were able to speak what is coming up. Coming up is fixed, usko believe karo because Aryant was able to speak about it. And that's
ये
about
जो
it. Nothing you can change, don't bother with it.
ये
Your
जो
life
infinite
doesn't,
concept,
your
हाँ,
Purusharth doesn't. You shouldn't think, oh, it's already fixed, so why should I do Purusharth?
ये जो infinity का concept है, it's hard for the mind to grasp because you can say कि okay, अगले आरा में तीर्थंकर जो आएंगे, ठीक है, तीर्थंकर भगवान ने बताए. But when you think about like 1 billion years from now, 1 trillion years from now, right? जो हमारा, you know, infinite is like, it's a very hard concept to grasp, right? That I think our minds cannot grasp that.
Not just infinity. Even the how many years ago was Rishabh Dev Bhagwan is going to be hard to conceptualize right now.
Yeah, if you do just a general calculation, it comes up to some millions of years or something, right? And according to the Earth, millions of years ago, they were just, you know, apes, right? So
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's why all this fails. That we humans came from apes and all that happened. It could be
It
a
is
coincidence. apes have similar anatomy or whatever, that's fine. Any other questions? Any other eye-opening things of this story compared to what you had heard? What is the takeaway from this story?
I mean, the biggest takeaway is, right, in one bow itself, Ram, right, was so attached, right, could go to
Right.
could become Sid.
So
That's
what
a
you guys said, oh, we are nowhere near and all that, does that stay
correct.
true anymore? You're capable,
No.
of course. It may seem like, oh my God, we're too far from this, but no, not really. It's only a
It
switch.
has
It's
both, yeah. It has both of them correctly. In the first half or the almost 75% of time, more raga, dvesha, where their attachment, because of somebody's dvesha, his aunt's dvesha, they went to forest, and then their attachment, they search for the Sita and then fight, and then again Sita sent. It's a lot of attachment. At the end, the
and then
detachment.
he realizes that all this attachment and worldly things are not
Yeah.
giving happiness. So
But
then
at the same time, his karmas were also right. Right. So Ram is considered to be one of the 64 Mahapurush, right? So he has all the lakshan of a Mahapurush. So matlab, theek hai, he had that attachment, strong attachment Sita ko. But the
together.
karmas are almost finished, right?
Don't discount the fact that he had to still work towards it.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
he had the matlab, in one lifetime mein, unke
It's
karmas
not
ab tak aaye the na.
on a platter. You
No, but
yourself.
it doesn't say anything about who taught him, like he had any kind of guru or anything once, you know. It aise kuch, I mean, isme to nahi likha hai, but does it say anything in this?
No. See, you could have, there is two types of, like suppose this life you are hearing all this, right? Next life, you may not need to hear anything and you may still get some darshan. Because it's with.
Also, kings. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying there's two types of samyak darshan. One is nasargic, which means naturally you get it from previous whatever memory. The other one is that life somebody's becomes a nimit, somebody teaching you becomes a nimit in your samyak darshan. That's so. So a lot of them don't necessarily get the teaching sermon in that life. And it can still happen.
Mhm. Also, kings used to send their kids to the acharya to get some religious knowledge and dhanurvidya.
But it's no big deal. Today, also in India, so many people from elementary and middle school send their kids to this pachmadi and hostels and whatever to just because they think they're sending their kids to good, better schools. So that happens.
Prabhaji, my childhood teacher of Dharmik Pathshala, whenever she used to do Kausag, so she had a shower of Vaskep. So what does that mean?
It's just what does that mean? Okay. It can happen. It's not like it's fake. Some devta can do it who has a liking for this person. They could shower, and that's all it means. It's nothing big.
So what was the question? I didn't get it.
And I'm assuming you have seen it, right? Or you just heard it.
What is?
No, I had seen it. So the
So-
Vaskep used to come out of her like center of the head.
Whose head? Like your teacher?
Yeah.
And what is
What used to
Vaskep?
come out?
It's a sandalwood
Vaskep
dust.
Yeah.
The
Sandalwood
priest,
dust.
you know? Yeah. The priest
So that-
will give you the Maharaj Sahib, yeah, the Vaskep.
So that
yeah.
used to come from the center of her head. So kind of like some kind of like vibhuti or something, but it's sandalwood dust coming from her head.
Yeah, falling off like a not exactly like in force, but it come used to.
And Auntie, what is the explanation you gave for that? Like
I said some devta have these kind of abilities that if they're happy with this person, they can do these kind of chamatkars. I mean, even there is so many times you will hear these stories, Bhagwan ko pasina aa gaya, or Ganesh ji pee rahe hain, or whatever, So all these are just some of those. So yeah, of course, some Devi Devtas, and it's usually the जो अधोलोक वाले जो देवता होते हैं ना, व्यंतर वगैरह, they do these kind of little tricks and things like that, where they might make you do that. And that's nothing big deal about it. Unfortunately, because people don't know, they think it's a huge deal. Like they might think, oh my God, this personality of this teacher is something big deal because this was Pastor Shape was coming out.
People get
But we
fooled
should
very
not by these cars, yeah.
somebody is a very good orator and they mistake that for knowledge. That happens with so many god men and god women these days, right? Matlab, theek se bhashan de rahe doesn't mean you have knowledge. You're a good speaker. So
Pandits who can explain you till the nth level,
yeah.
but they may read Samyak Drishti themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, so everything again, वस्तु स्वरूप को समझना मतलब हर चीज को right perspective से समझना. So once you understand things in the real perspective, then you don't get shocked or you don't get too influenced by these kind of chamatkaric things. It's not like you will have to say that they're not true. No, if it happens, it happens. But you should know why it could happen. So you don't
You
get
understand
affected.
you understand the vastu swarup ki, what is the purpose of that and what it is. You don't get overtaken by it or you don't get too excited. It's theek hai, wo hai.
Yeah. See, otherwise what happens is most mundane people will get so affected. I mean, how do you think all these clans and whatever start, right? Some lady did a little chamatkar or Sai Baba did some chamatkar, wo vibhuti nikli or kisi ka kuch theek ho gaya. Oh my God, the whole world is there, right?
Yeah.
And what do they accomplish? You go there and see 50% of the people don't get what they wished for, what they went there for. But are they going to talk about those people? No. They're only going to talk about those who got cured.
What people don't realize is that these are part of nature. They're part of vastu swarup. Just because our science cannot measure it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Logo ke paas hai ye chamatkari things. People have telepathic powers. People can materialize things. These are real, but it doesn't mean what we think it is.
There, it will only affect the person whose Satavednya karma was going to come into effect. Alone Labdhi cannot do it. So if your Satavednya karma is also needed, then even if you didn't go there, you are going to get cured regardless. It's a coincidence. You went there and you got cured. So now the blame comes on that person, that person cured you. Right? Aren't there doctors that are like the lowest, what do you call that? These days, even the doctors get 5 stars and 4 stars and 2 stars. You think the 2-star doctor, there are no patients that get cured by him? Of course there are. Or 5-star doctor doesn't have failed cases? They do.
ये जो सिद्धीज और जो मैजिकल थिंग बोलते हैं, I think Jainism में mostly उसको लब्धि बोलते हैं, right? That's the main thing.
More for the positive things, but yes, labdhi. This is basically.
So when we sing that song अंगुष्ठे अमृत वसे लब्धि ताना भंडार, तो वो क्या संबंध है उसका, जो बिग टो का लब्धि का क्या? Maybe it's off topic now, but since we're talking about these magical powers.
वो इतनी लब्धि थी कि उनको सारा जो भगवान ने बोला वो पूरा उनको कंठस्थ हुआ और उन्होंने आगे आगे फैलाया. तो उनमें इतनी लब्धियां थी उनके. इट्स जस्ट अ पोएटिक लैंग्वेज. अंगूठे अमृत बदे बसे लब्धि तना भंडार, श्री गुरु गौतम समरिये मनवांचित. Actually depends how you take it. There is some mithyatva in it because people think मनवांचित मतलब any लौकिक चीजें मांगोगे तो मिल जाएगी, which is not what it is supposed to mean. What it is supposed to mean is कि मनवांचित मतलब whatever I needed to know, Guru Gautam was able to disseminate that knowledge to me. A lot of people don't take it like that. They think उनकी पूजा भक्ति करने से जो चाहिए वो मिल जाएगा. And God forbid, कुछ वैसे ही मिलने ही वाला था, then the blame comes on whatever they did, whether it was a puja or Guru Gautam का याद करना, whatever it was. Okay, so for next week,
this sloka is for this cure and all.
Oh yeah, there is all those things. Yeah, Bhaktambar mein, this, it's such a big thing going on. I've met the lady who started this whole thing. But anyway.
नहीं, उसमें है magical powers, but Bhaktaman is not for कड़िया तोड़ने के लिए नहीं है ना. You don't say Bhaktaman for that. वो it's a side effect होता है वो. If you were saying with 100% pure concentration, a side effect होता है.
Yes.
But you don't say it for that purpose.
Might or might not.
जैसे वो कोई राग गाने से वो हिरन आ जाते हैं, they are not saying it's not possible. निमित्त नैमित्तिक संबंध हो सकता है.
Who is the one doing it also, right? That's important.
But again, whose karma, whose sata vedaniya? This is
what is the word used? Sata vedaniya? What is
vedaniya karma? There are two types here.
Oh, okay.
If you're going to get cured, if that karma come to fruition, then whatever else you get as a nimit, whether it's a doctor or Sai Baba or whoever, you're going to get cured. And when there is asata ko uday, you could go to the 5-star doctor and your case may be a failure.
Yeah.
It could be connection as well, that the doctor should have come into the fruition of like Nam Karma. And we are getting into the fruition of...
Myth can be thousands.
Yeah.
So yes, all that is possible. कि वो डॉक्टर का भी फेम वाला कर्म उदय में होना चाहिए था, आपका भी साता का उदय होना चाहिए था. So many things would have to come into play.
आप दोनों का भी कर्म साथ में होना चाहिए, right? All those things have to come into play. Like you can go to 100 physicians and only 101st physician will be able to cure you because आपके पास कुछ कर्म है उनके साथ में, right? The other 100 could not cure.
Yeah. So, that's the way it's but the thing is, when you understand all this, right, then you realize at the end of the day, it's not worth going into all those. I mean, I can know uska karm, iska karm, this and that, and then what do you gain out of it? Nothing.
Right.
I want to be with my soul, and I don't need to deal with any of that then. And most sansaris, they get all curious and all, एक तो बोल दे कोई मुझे हाथ देखना आता है, oh my God, 100 people की लान लग जाएगी, मेरा हाथ देख के बताओ मेरा क्या, so so जो फ्यूचर में है वो प्रेजेंट में आ ही जाएगा, आपको पता तो चल ही जाएगा. So chalo, we got 10 more minutes. Should we start the Samay Sar Stuti? Oh, one thing, Amit ji, by next week we want to do Gandhar. So can somebody start putting your name and then your topic?
Okay. Sure. Yeah.
Yes. Where we are supposed to pick the topic from these books?
Any of the
Yeah,
books.
any topic.
Yes.
Okay.
Any of the books we have done.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it
And
is
it should be... Should it be 10 minutes long or more?
No more than 10 minutes. 5 to 10 minutes is good enough.
Yeah, Prabhaji, I will select who am I.
Still learning. If it is a little more, I'll accept it. That's okay, depending on how big of a topic you choose.
I'm
I'll
going to
select
do
who
on
am I.
Upayoga.
But whatever topic you choose, you have to be the subject matter expert on that. So I can ask you any question. I'll ask you 3 questions and you should be able to answer those.
Sure.
So choose a topic that you would want to explain to somebody about, or you have difficulty understanding. So then you kind of get to the depth of that topic. And then usually when you prepare Gandhar on a topic, that topic usually stays pretty good with you because you've tried to thoroughly understand it, because you know I'm going to ask you questions and you should know it, you know.
Mhm.
Once
we
you
have
teach a
some
subject, that
sessions?
helps you master it.
Yeah. So you're going to master that topic.
So should we have some scheduled sessions next week, right? When we have our 2 hour thing, because we are at
Yes,
the end of this
we can
Vidra
do
Vigyan 3.
4 or 5 of them in a day. Yeah, because we have a longer class, we should be able to do it. Yeah.
Okay.
So at least
Then
schedule like 4 people, and then if you don't do all 4, then next class. But at least we should, at least 4 to 5 people should be ready.
okay. Sure. Yeah, I'll try to collate everyone's topic, right, and remind them, right, to prepare it, right, by next Wednesday.
Do the last Samaysar Stuti and the Gandhar Mulyankan. And also, like I said, that if you want to share any experiences of yours, you know, difference between before the starting the course and after, we can do a little session of that too, or in between, it doesn't matter, you know. It's
It's
just
not later,
nice
I
to
think.
guys. And that's why I put a video which the other group had done at one time, and it was kind of nice. Like to me, it was an eye opener. Oh, I didn't even realize it was actually affecting people's lives in that way. So it's kind of nice to know.
Yeah.
So, all right. सहजानंदी शुद्ध स्वरूपी अविनाशी हूँ आत्म स्वरूप सहजानंदी शुद्ध स्वरूपी अविनाशी हूँ आत्म स्वरूप सहजानंदी शुद्ध स्वरूपी अविनाशी हूँ आत्म स्वरूप निज निधि निज में बताई यह अनंत उपकार है इसके लिए जिन वाणी माँ को वंदना शत बार है वंदना शत बार है। जय जिनेन्द्र सिंह।